Maybe you're wrong.
What's going on, everybody? How's it going tonight? I'm excited. We're here with JAJ Minton, my first live stream on Booktube. Super stoked about that. And we're going to talk about discovery. Hopefully you guys are excited for that. Guys, thank you guys so much for hopping on with me. I could not have a better first guest.
Actually, thrilled to be your first guest.
Oh, man, we're over the moon. And I just want to say, did you see all that happening up front, Jacob?
Yeah.
All that noise, all that happening up front
so
for a
much
live
more
stream,
preparation.
How come we can't have that?
Yeah, that's
because I don't care as much as Preacher does, clearly.
Oh, don't say that. Yeah. It was like I pressed like 2 buttons, guys. It wasn't that exciting.
Oh, that makes me feel worse. I could have been doing it way better this whole time.
It was funny. My buddy Riggs here is reminding me that this is not my first live stream ever. So
ever. It's the first on your channel, as I'm.
Yes, first as a booktuber. I did the Twitch gaming stuff for a while, which is slightly different.
Yeah,
and by slightly I mean very. So it helped a little bit, I think, starting off with like making videos, just because I knew how some of the tech worked, but. And I have like a cool microphone and stuff, and that's about it. That's about it. I actually had like a really nice DSLR camera that I used. I sold it when I stopped, and I started doing videos for Booktube, and I was like, oh,
why did I sell?
Do you just use your phone now?
I do. I just use my phone, which works.
Works great.
Yeah. To be honest with you, and then I have like the lapel mic, which works pretty well.
Classic lapel mic. I love it.
Very fancy.
Yeah, my biggest problem with that was that coming from the streaming stuff, I was very picky, right? I was like, I like it needs to look like this, it needs to sound like this, and like everything's super production oriented in like gaming streaming.
Yeah,
I mean everything has to look great, or people like, eh. I think in Booktube more, it's like it sounds good, we're good. Like as long as it doesn't sound bad.
I think a lot of people listen like that.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you have like. I don't know, like our weekly readers like 50 minutes long. I don't think anyone sits down and watches that. Like
oh God, no.
They probably just
you can't shut up, Jacob.
Yeah, I watch.
That must be one.
I'm driving down the road, just eyes on the phone.
That's a problem.
That's not a good idea.
I'm kidding. Jazzberry says, super excited for Discovery. When both Tudor Ramble and Preacher loved it, I was sold. This is interesting because I disagree with Tudor Ramble so often.
So we should have been afraid.
Yeah.
Absolutely love
like
those guys.
They hate Name of the Wind. I love Name of the Wind. Like
Name of the Wind's in my top 10. So
me too.
I actually told them, they put out that video where they did reading 5-star reviews of like the books that they hated. And I told them I wish I would have like retroactively gone back and written a review for Name of the Wind that they could have read, just so I could just trash them. But I typically disagree more with Richard, but definitely like them both.
They're the best. I mean, I love them both, but don't agree. I can't think of anyone I would agree with 100% of the time.
Yeah, I would say I agree the most with Mike. Most often with Mike.
That's pretty
of any booktuber.
True. Yeah.
Most often with Mike. Samwise a lot too. Like I think me and Samwise are on a very similar when we approach books, and you, of course.
Well,
I mean,
Yeah, but you
I
love
don't know.
everything.
I tend to like a lot of things.
Rigmarole says Team Austin. I'm team both. I don't know what you're talking about, especially if
There's
Richard is
teams?
watching.
There were teams.
Well,
I didn't know
between
this.
Richard and Austin, I think there's teams for sure.
Really?
Rigmarole says Richard has opinions that hurt me personally.
It's very true. It's very true. I will
do
say,
the,
I
I
will
do the
say
thumbnails for Two to
yeah.
Ramble.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, anytime that like I get, because they'll send me like pictures of here's what we can use for the thumbnail, and then they'll send me a little doc with a description. It's like, here's a review, and most of the time it's like, we didn't like this book, we like this book, or hey, Austin's writing this, I love this book, Rich did not like this book. Those are the three options.
Yeah, I think the one that still stumps me, I mean, I get not liking Name of the Wind, but I would love to sit down because in their review of The Blade itself, Richard says, he says that he loved the plot, but didn't like the character work or something like that. And I'm sitting there going, the one thing people say is there's no plot. And I'm just going, love the plot. No. But love those guys. They're fantastic. When they said yes to the last collab video, I was through the roof for that. That was so awesome.
And I let you down.
That's okay, man. You've done one.
I still don't feel good about myself.
Oh my! Well, you're just gonna have to make it up somehow.
I will. I'll do the best I can.
Yeah. Jazz says, I used to agree with Austin more, but his takes have gotten progressively worse.
Austin.
Oh, gosh.
My
Ryan
first experience
Skeffington.
with Austin was seeing him wearing that dress in Dragonsteel,
Oh, yeah. There you go.
and I was pretty taken with that.
Yeah,
I
who
thought
would
that
not
was.
be?
I was like, I dig that.
Yeah. Who would not be taken?
Yeah,
He
that's
lost a bet or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lost a bet.
much worse bet than y'all's two's last.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh,
Hi,
yeah.
Ryan.
Much
We
worse.
would never just.
Ryan,
Ryan
says hello. I don't know if you guys know Ryan. I actually got
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Read Ryan's first book.
reveal. I did the reveal video for his
Book
cover
two.
for book 2. That was really fun to work with him on. And use Google to figure out how to make that happen. Google University is the greatest university for things like that. So I'm not a video editor, but
Proud
I
graduate.
became one.
Google you.
I became one. Oki Britton
Oh,
says the
boy.
blade itself has a plot. It does. I agree.
I agree.
My point is just if there is a thing that you don't like, usually it's the plot of that series. So Zach says, "Hey gang," man,
Hi,
everybody's
Zach.
Hey,
in.
Zach.
Everybody's in. Arabella says, "Hey everyone." All right, so let's get
Hey.
started. My goal
All right.
for this live stream is to give you guys every opportunity to just gush and talk about your experience creating Discovery. I obviously can't gush a ton about reading it because I would get spoilery, but I have a review that is spoiler free and absolutely loved it. Thank you guys so much for giving it for giving me an opportunity to read it early.
Oh,
that
man.
Thank you for the review.
was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I tell you, I mean this sincerely. I think I said it in the video. I felt like it was written for me. Just
Well-
given what I like,
3
You know
years
what I
ago,
loved
we did
about-
talk about there's
Yeah.
this guy Preacher Reads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Wait.
didn't exist. So.
We did a lot of research. I've been in your front lawn with the
Mm.
binoculars for a
Look at
while.
Bill. Look at Brian.
What is he doing?
This new cast of Severance looks different.
That's fantastic. What's up, Brian?
My brother
Love you,
from
Brian.
the north.
Funniest guy on Booktube for sure.
Dude, I loved your review because it was fun. I finally got to see like another horror fan
Mhm.
read it.
Yeah.
So
Well, especially
it was awesome.
as somebody who's like, I went from horror to fantasy and don't read as much
Same.
horror now.
Yeah.
So it was like I was seeing all these little things that like I haven't caught in a while, and just seeing kind of how things were kind of cross streaming each other was really awesome. I think that probably the moment I decided that it was for me was probably within 20 pages after the prologue. I mean, it was quickly. I was like, okay, we're in. I like this.
Mhm.
The prologue is so different, right?
Yeah.
You guys
The
know that.
prologue is different.
And I loved that. And that's one thing I said in the review was like, it's chaotic on purpose.
yeah.
And I thought that was accomplished awesome. There's some Stephen King novels that I think are chaotic on purpose that people tend to, sometimes I'll hear like, oh, that was it just didn't flow well. And I'm like, it wasn't supposed to flow the way you kind of want it to, as this like perfect. And I felt a little bit of that. I'm a huge Tommyknockers fan. No one else is, but
Really?
You're
loved
the
that
one.
book. I'm the one. There's dozens of us.
Yeah.
Dozens.
Across the country.
Yeah. No, Jake says, can we get Rick Thunder to play Manny in the adaptation?
That would be my first choice.
That would be amazing.
Absolute first
That,
choice.
that could work well. That could work
Yeah.
well. So I'm so excited for all of these people to be able to catch these references, like for this book to get out and to be able to talk about these things.
It is surreal. It is weird because for the longest time we entertained each other around the table, making this stuff up to make each other laugh or to make each other go woo or whatever.
Mhm.
And now to hear people out there talk about Manny or this or that, it's like it's a little weird. It really is
very weird. Yeah. It's also one thing that I wasn't prepared for was, since Jacob shunned me. I'm sorry, Alan.
What's up, Alan?
Whoa.
I'm sorry, Alan.
And Alan was there and he was not feeling great either.
Yeah, Jacob.
Yeah.
What
He
was
was
your
amazing.
excuse?
I know. Alan pulled it out because he's a good man.
He's
I'm
amazing.
supposed to bond over love of Hastur and Carcosa. I love the Yellow King. The Yellow King is fantastic.
Man,
Now I've forgotten what I was talking about.
I think we all did. That's what live stream chats always do. It's like
Yeah.
every live stream I watch is like there's a direction and then
And
opposite direction. Yeah, typically because of Brian, but
Yeah.
Yep.
Alan's great at that too.
yeah. Yeah, I just think that when it does come time for people to read it, I'm stoked for you guys to get to see people talk about it more in depth. Because I mean, everything I think you've gotten to see so far has been pretty obviously spoiler free and kind of very like pulled back. And while I think that's probably so awesome to see, I would imagine getting to see people like get spoilery afterwards and just gush about specific characters and moments. And because there's a couple of moments that I have that I'm like, I'm stoked to kind of chat with some other people about. And I can't imagine being the person who created it. Right.
I can't
pretty
wait.
surreal. Yeah.
The things that are kind of surreal, though, are actually, to me, have less to do with the actual book. That's like, oh man, there's actually people are mispronouncing the names of our characters. That's so cool.
That's fantastic. Oh man, that's great. Britton says King was hitting that coke too hard.
I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong, preacher.
It's kind of funny. I assume you guys probably know what straight edge is. I've been just straight edge since I was like 13. In terms of just saying that was the lifestyle I was going to lead. But King's drug books are my favorite one. Those are the ones. Like those are my guys right there. I'm sober, but he was definitely not.
He was probably doing enough for both of you.
Yeah. And you can live vicariously through that. He was doing plenty to cover you.
Yeah. And that's like one of my favorite parts about the Dark Tower series is like I know enough about Stephen King to kind of like connect dots and be like, he was really weird over here. And that was because of, it's like you see his life kind of crossing because it was written over that long span. And it's far from perfect. And I said that in my my Dark Tower videos, like it's far from perfect. And I think if you embrace that, it actually is more fun that way to be like, he did what? It's a bummer though. My best friend Dave, rigmarole right here. He got the ending spoiled, and so now he like refuses to read it. And I wanted to read it so bad because he's a huge fantasy guy.
I love that fan. That's a great one.
Yeah, one day I'm going to make him do it. He's the one who made me ruin my TBR in February to do a little hatred. So he's got to get me back on that one. Library of Alexandria, worst Dark Tower book. Oh gosh, I mean, The Gunslinger. I would say maybe Song of Susanna.
I was going to say Song of Susanna.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't dislike it, but I think it's the weakest of it.
I'm going to go Song of Susanna because I can remember the moment I read the last chapter of The Gunslinger. I remember where I was. I remember what I was doing, and it was the part where the main baddie is waxing eloquently about the minusculeness of everything. And it was like, I was just reading it going, this is the most next level thing I've ever read. And I did, and so looking back, I'm like, The Gunslinger was fine. But that moment, I'm a moments reader, right? Where it's like a book can be okay, but if it has those moments, it's great. And a book can be really good, but if it doesn't have those moments, just kind of forget about it, you know? And Discovery had those moments. I'm just saying. Yeah, did you like that transition? That was a good one.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It's like you're a pro.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I do talk for a living, so that probably helps. But so everyone in here knows who you guys are, but in case there is anyone who doesn't, could you guys introduce yourselves? Talk a little bit about just who you are and your maybe even your channel as well too. Hold on a second. Very baseline because we're gonna hop into Discovery pretty hard here in a minute. But just introduce yourselves.
Go for it, Dad.
My name is John Minton, and right around 2 years ago, that kid right there made me a Booktube channel because I just wanted to get in on the conversation with everybody about books that we love. And it's been like amazing, life-changing. Like it's just been such a joy. It's kind of filled a big void that I didn't even know I had. And then we all got locked in together. And I think we just decided to create something. So we wrote a book together, too, the three of us. And that's another reason why we are here on Preacher's amazing channel.
Oh, thank you. Awesome. Arabella wants to know, Discovery is book 1 in a series. How many books are you all planning?
Yes, Discovery is book 1 in a series called Strange Eons. Right now, it's planned to be 5 books at the moment.
I'm sorry, Brian. I can't with these guys.
It's so like walks on the beach.
I have yet to pull his arm enough to get him into a collab. He's got to be in the next one. The next one is gonna be fantastic. I'm gonna have you guys pitch. Oh, y'all are hearing it here first. I'm gonna have you guys pitch your favorite book that everyone hates. So you have to make an argument for your favorite book that's like very poorly reviewed.
Okay.
Like, this is why you have to read this book that people don't love.
You have one in mind already, Dad. I can tell.
It's the next book. So
Look at
Brian,
this.
Brian's got to be a part.
Yeah.
His pupils have gone to pinpoints. He's just like,
So many.
Yeah.
Like you say, I like everything. So that'll be easier for me to come up with that.
I'm going to have a hard time. I was thinking about it and I was like, the minority is always so loud. I was like, well, people hate this book. And I looked up on Goodreads and it was like 4.4. And I was like, nope, never mind.
Nope, no, they don't.
It's just to ramble. But all right. So question number 1, like I said, really want to dive in hard to, just hearing from you guys about the creation of Discovery. I know you guys have done some live streams about it already and talked about it. What I really want to hear is just, I really enjoy hearing you guys talk about getting together to do it and just the process. And so my first question is a fill in the blank question. It is fill in the blank. People who loved blank will probably also love Discovery. This is my opportunity for you guys to pitch it. And this doesn't have to be a book. This could be movies. This could be shows. This could be any work of fiction. What kind of stuff are people going to love?
We had such a hard time coming up with comps.
Yeah?
When we were
we did.
Go ahead, Mom. Do you have one?
It's pretty close to Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard a lot of people say that it sounds like Stephen King, which is a huge compliment for me because I grew up reading him. So those are my 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Jacob?
I was gonna say maybe like David Mitchell-ish for the kaleidoscopic narrative, and just Lovecraft in general for cosmic horror.
Yeah,
you don't have to like Lovecraft.
No. You don't have to be a fan of Lovecraft. You don't have to know anything about Lovecraft. If you like body horror, cosmic horror, there's stuff in there for you for sure.
Yeah, the one comp that I find interesting, and it's only because of some of the tone, right? You guys, obviously, we have to stay very spoiler free, but you know what I mean by some of the tone. I got some John dies at the end in there, like just a little bit.
Ooh,
on the moments that are a little more ridiculous on purpose, right?
Yeah.
I got some John dies at the end. And then I would say Meets the Fisherman, which I don't think you guys have read The Fisherman.
I think I read it a long time ago.
Okay.
Did they do a movie about it?
I don't think so.
The adaptation that's not the Terry Gilliam movie.
No.
I'm
that's
not a
Fisher
movie
King.
guy. I'm not a movie
You
guy.
know the one I mean?
Yeah, I do.
That's the Fisher King. That's
Fisher
totally
King,
different.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This is a more important question. You didn't come up with the idea after all of you got food poisoning at Long John Silver's.
No, but that has happened to me. I
Completely
came up with other
separate
ideas.
Those are the ideas nobody wants to hear.
Yeah.
That's funny. Britton says it kind of reminded me of a topiary, which I have no clue what that is, which sadly very few people have heard of, including me, because it was a movie that never got made. What?
How can you compare it?
The most Britton comment I've ever read. Yeah, that is, I'd fill in the blank and say Norman Spinrad. Do anyone here know what that is?
No.
Some of the dialogue from the prologue, maybe think of some of the unhinged bits in Bug Jack Barron. There are some unhinged bits, I can tell you.
There are
that.
some unhinged bits.
Yeah.
I finished the prologue and I said, is the whole thing going to be like this?
No.
Because I like it.
There's a lot of people who said that too.
I said, I like it.
Where are you
I
going
like
with
it,
this?
but I think I'm going to have to be in like a very specific headspace, you know, when I read it. And then I got into the next chapter and was like, okay, I see what we're doing. And that's another reason I would use The Fisherman when you guys ever do get a chance to read it. Obviously the cosmic horror is there, but it is very jumpy. Very, it doesn't just take one straight on narrative. And I think that kind of reminded me of it a little bit too. Much more serious all the way through. But I loved John Dies at the End the first time I read it. I read that back when I wasn't reading a ton. And I would love to go back and see if it holds up because it was ridiculous.
I read it a long time ago too.
Yeah. And I think I read through book 2 and I've heard the third one is actually pretty good in that series. But yeah, I had some of those vibes too. Any others that you guys would like to add on that one?
Have you said any, Dad? You got any?
No, he hasn't.
I would, it's so weird. It's such a genre blender. It's really hard.
I think that was what made it so hard for us is
Yeah.
that like there's humor, there's horror, there's
sci-fi.
there's sci-fi, there's
thriller,
cyberpunk.
there's mystery. It's kind of structured like an epic fantasy. It's a kaleidoscopic narrative as opposed to completely linear. Like it's really hard to pin down.
Yeah. Well, I think that one of the most interesting parts of the way you guys kind of weaved those in there was that, like, I saw you weaving those things in, and then my first thought was like, okay, this is gonna be 5 books. What's happening right in the next 4 books? And I think I said it in my video that as a horror fan, I'm so used to one-offs.
Yeah.
Right. Like when I get in the horror zone, I'm like, this is gonna be 1 book. And so like 3/4 of the way through, I'm like, I don't think this is ending. I'm like, this is 5 books, but like kind of on autopilot reading horror, I'm like, well, this is going to end. It feels like a horror novel. And so I'm interested to see, because I mean, so few actual real horror series. I mean, I can't even there's only like a couple that even come to mind. And so I'm very interested to see where is it going to kind of like go more fantasy? Is it going to stay extremely mixed? I'm very curious.
I think it kind of goes more everywhere.
Good. I like that. Exactly what I wanted to hear.
Yeah. I kind of listening in on some early book 2 plot meetings. Everywhere is good.
Everywhere, faster, more furious.
Yeah.
Right.
More faster, more furiouser.
As a King fan, like those are the things I love about picking up his stuff, right? Is it's like nothing's off limits.
Yeah.
From a structure standpoint, from a dialogue standpoint, and I think that is, but nothing is off limits, but there's still continuity. And I think like I've read some books where I've been like, okay, nothing was off limits here, and there should have definitely been some limits, right? King, I think, does a great job of that. I thought that the Discovery did such a great job kind of having those nothing is off limits, but we still know where we're going. And I'm not a super esoteric book reader. Like I kind of struggle with books that are real. I think you mentioned David Mitchell. Like I just haven't found one that clicks for me there. I need a little bit more concreteness I think that you guys kind of like nailed that middle ground, right?
Yeah,
Where the prologue, legitimately, I was like, I don't know what's happening right now.
Yeah.
It's and then chapter 1 hit, and I was like, there's the ground, sick.
Yeah.
I
I do think that's like an actual conversation that we had. It's like, all right, what comes after this prologue? It's got to be something grounded because, oh my God, people need it.
100%. Jake asks a question. He's just hopping right in. This is his live stream now.
Mhm.
He says, creativity feels so private to a lot of people. Was it hard for you guys to be vulnerable with each other to write this book as a team? That's a great question.
Wow, that is a great question.
That's a good,
It
I'll let
was-
you guys handle that.
It was for me for a while, but I think a lot of that was kind of imposter syndrome that, my dad and I's writing partner was my mom, who's brilliant and has an MFA in creative writing. And I had a long time where I was afraid to present anything that I hadn't like worked on for a week. And it was like, it has to be good enough to show to my mom, that had to stop pretty quickly, but I was definitely afraid to be that vulnerable for a little while.
Yeah. Did you guys have any, and this is a follow-up question to that, did you guys have any like mom or dad goggles at all where you had to be like, no, I need to tell them this is bad, or like, I need to tell them this isn't good enough? Like,
Well, you guys were working together for a long time.
awesome.
I tried to frame that in terms of what we could learn from whatever he had done, because like, no matter what he turned in, there was something to work with.
Yeah.
And even though it wasn't, I mean, nobody's first draft is perfect, but every time he would turn something in, it was like, okay, there was always something to grab a hold of, and there was always something to talk about. And I never had that problem.
Yeah. And then it went to him like saving us several, like he would turn something, like we would get to points where it's like, I can't see it. And he would do something that would free everything up as forward for momentum and like save us.
Yeah.
So it's like the distance he traveled from where he started describing that to where he got to is pretty astounding.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think there were times, especially earlier on, that I think I'm a better writer now than I was when we started writing this book.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But
okay.
But there were times that like I would, I know what you meant.
No.
There were times that like
somebody clip that, please.
Yeah. There were times like I had an idea to do something that I think, especially just back then, I wasn't good enough to accomplish it yet. And I think they could see what I was trying to do. And then, I mean, the first draft of this book was just like a crash course for me from my mom. Like I was trying to do things and she would go, oh, but you can do it this way. I go, oh, it was like 8-hour tutoring sessions every day. It was amazing. I loved every second of it.
That's great. I work with parents at obviously a church setting, but then also my other job is with baseball and helping kids get college scholarships, and so that's also very parent oriented.
Oh yeah.
The thing I've noticed the most about parents, and I think it's given me some perspective, is like oftentimes parents struggle to be one of two extremes, right? Like my kid can't do wrong, or my kid can't do right, and like what kids need is like the ability for parents to nuance and give constructive criticism, but also encourage, and so I assume you guys have plenty of time to get that right as you guys were getting ready for like this specific thing. And Jacob is just the man. So hopefully, my buddy Rigmarole says, and I think this is a question you guys have answered in some other live streams. I think it's a great one. Is there some sort of separation of duties, certain person writing certain POVs or characters? I know that's a big one, but I definitely think it's one to ask.
We as we're getting into book 2, which we had a really big book 2 meeting today that was successful, and some of those meetings aren't always successful. So we were really excited about it. But when we were kind of getting into this meeting and trying to find the way we all work again, that we constantly shift, like, and I noticed that we shifted again. in the time that we've kind of been working on finishing this and getting it out, that I was like, wow, we've taken another step, and I think we're going to continue to evolve. There are some characters that are mine, some that are Jacob's. John is very good at the 30,000 foot view, especially when we get in trouble with some of the more cosmic, expansive, feeling. Just like, how does this look from up here? How does all of this fit together? So like just today, we all got in trouble again. We're like, well, we've learned to not beat that horse to death and just wait for John to come home. Yeah. So like, so yeah, like we've just we have these areas and we have these strengths that we've learned over the course of this book. And it was so good to be back today, wasn't it, Jacob?
It was. And I like the way that it works now, because it used to be that there was that separation of duties that I think in the first draft of this book, my mom would write certain characters and I would write certain characters. And I remember there was one day that I told her, like, what if we mix it up and I write these characters and you write the characters I usually write? And she like nearly had a panic attack. And it's just so much time has passed that it's like that had to stop being that way. Everyone had to be more flexible, and I got more busy, and my mom had to take on more of the writing, and everyone just kind of found their duties as they needed to be in the moment. So
yeah, I mean, I think we all have strengths and weaknesses. Like if I say mine is 30,000 or plotting, and it's like, I think the enormous ace up our sleeve is when it comes down to actually putting hands to keyboard and it going through a lens and becoming coherent. It goes through one of my favorite writer in the world, which has always been Amy. So it's like it's really interesting how the three of us throw a lot of ingredients into the pot, but then it seems to be a little, I'm not just speaking for myself. That's what ends up being a product is I could have never even imagined that on my own.
No, me neither.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Got a couple people who are hopping in and saying what's up. We got Andrew is here.
Andrew.
Oh boy.
Andrew.
Sebastian is here.
Hi,
Andrew wants to know about the Dr. Pepper peeps.
They're
all
disgusting.
Andrew liked them.
I know he did. He DM'd me about like his short saying he tried
so you're telling me Andrew didn't DNF the Dr. Pepper peeps?
No.
The guy DNFs 7 books a month.
He said they were good.
That's disgusting. At this point, I think he's just playing devil's advocate,
They're horrible.
Jacob, I gave them to my yoga teacher and she loved them. Janet.
Why? Why would you burden your yoga teacher with that?
She said she liked peeps and I gave it to her.
That's no payment.
Our boy Slay, the awesomest guy in the world, can barely keep my eyes open. Got to film in a sandstorm in less than 4 hours. Here to do 2 things before I leave. Say congrats on your first live stream. Second, I love you all. And Slay, thank you for the 5 gifted, man. That's so awesome. Thank you so much.
And third, yes, I lied.
He's the best.
Slay's the nicest.
I don't know when he sleeps, but he is.
I don't think he does.
I don't think he does.
Now that he's working for the Ministry of Information, he sleeps, or at least has more of a break.
Tries to.
Does he sleep?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Awesome guy, man. Thanks, Slay. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted, and to everyone who got a gifted membership. That's awesome. Thank you so much for you guys coming and hanging out. We are 30 minutes in, and we have 1 question done. So,
rip them off. Rip them off.
About right.
Just like a Band-Aid.
All right. Excited for this question. What was the hardest and easiest part of the process of making Discovery reality? So you got to give me the hardest thing and the easiest thing. What was like, boom, done, and what was the thing that just it took all the energy?
I know mine.
Okay.
All right. The easiest part was just like when Jacob first initially it came from Jacob. It was a school project, a screenwriting class. And when he brought the idea, it's like, I could just see it. The easiest part for me was like, oh, and then what if you did this? And what if you did this? And what if this happened? And this, I mean, you know, I think Jacob will back me up. It was like, I could throw it all out there. Didn't even have to take very much time to think. The hardest part sometimes was working with the people you love the most, because
that's a good answer.
You don't want to hurt feelings. You want to stake out territory for what you think is your part of it that you created, and then you realize that can hurt the people you care about most in the world, because they may be diametrically opposed with what they created and think is best for the project. And I mean, I think our hardest parts where it's like, I don't want to keep going through this if it's going to affect our relationship of how we feel about each other.
Yeah.
How do we fix this and keep working together and not coming up against that? So for me, those were the two extremes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And weirdly enough, the thing that brought us back together every time was that we'd go to our respective corners and be angry. And then at the end of the day, we'd come back together and basically be like, I really want to write this book though. I don't want to stop.
I really want this to, want this story out there. Yeah. I think the hardest part for me was when we were getting a lot of no's from the agents when we were submitting it, because there was this little girl dream that I was going to have a publication go a certain way. And after COVID, a lot of traditional publishing has changed. And, you know, and nobody was buying sci-fi, and some people call this horror, but it really is mainly sci-fi. But nobody's buying sci-fi at the moment, or was when we were querying, and it really wasn't ready either when we were querying. We were just really excited, and that's a big mistake people make. But to get that many no's and to keep going, it was it was pretty brutal. And knowing that like we were going to have the road to self-publishing ahead of us, and so it's just like, wow, this is another thing I have to learn.
And we had no idea.
And it sounded difficult. It sounded to me like I was going to have to do a lot of things that I knew I wasn't good at, or I thought I wasn't good at. And I still can't believe that we did.
Yeah.
So, it was like getting this thing here was hard.
It was a mountain. Yeah.
It was hard.
The
easiest
thing is the indie published community is so
if it hadn't been for
welcoming.
Booktube,
If it wouldn't been like that, I can't.
No, if it hadn't been for Booktube and all the people who advised us, and no, we wouldn't be here.
There'd be no way.
No way. So the easiest thing were some of these characters that you mentioned, Preacher, just like, you know, the unhinged moments, and those are the moments that just kind of fly right out. You know, just those were the easiest, the most fun. And when that's working and going really well, I mean, some of this dialogue is just first draft stuff that just kind of like just popped right out.
And you don't even remember writing some of it.
Yeah,
no, somebody go back.
A lot of
which one of us wrote that? And it's like, that was you.
I was like, no one, it was you.
Yeah.
There was a couple Stephen King books he doesn't remember writing, but that was for a different reason.
Different reasons.
Those were a different reason.
No,
those are fantastic answers. A couple things I want to grab real quick. Zach said, "Cannot wait to get this book, guys." If you don't follow Zach's channel, he is awesome. Go follow Zach's channel. Sebastian says, "Besides Lovecraft, what are your cosmic horror inspirations?"
Jacob,
I don't know. I gotta think about that.
Jacob is going to talk about the King of Yellow.
Yeah, I mean, I love the King in Yellow. I tend to work a lot out of spite, which sounds mean.
I'm inspired by spite entirely.
I'm inspired by revenge.
I mean, like this whole thing started as a TV show because I was taking a television scriptwriting class in college, and I think a lot of the reason that I wanted to do cosmic horror in the first place was that there was. I feel like anytime I Google things about cosmic horror and why are there no good cosmic horror movies out there, some people will argue that there will. I see a lot of people say that cosmic horror just doesn't transfer well to a visual medium. It's very difficult to make cosmic horror, potentially impossible to make a cosmic horror TV show or a movie. And I thought that was ridiculous. And I wanted to write a cosmic horror TV show because I think it could absolutely happen. And now, season 1 of True Detective exists, and that's It's amazing.
So good.
It can absolutely work.
We
And
don't
then
talk
this
about
ended
the
up
other
being a book.
seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, the other seasons didn't happen. It's just season 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of my biggest inspiration. It's just loving cosmic horror and knowing that it could be possible and it would be incredible. And then it ended up being a book anyway, but that's okay.
Awesome. What about you guys?
Mine's Victor Lavelle,
Yeah.
who was a teacher of mine and a lovely human. And his kind of social take on Lovecraft was really why I kind of got into this and kind of wanted to add to that, to many voices who are now doing that. So that's mine.
I kind of, when Jacob brought the idea to me, and it's like, I said, well, and I threw something out there. Well, what if this happened? And I mean,
you just can't wait to tell people what it is.
No, I can't. Yeah, but that's books down the line.
3.
Yeah. And he looked at me like, you need to go into a home.
Yeah.
You need to,
I was furious.
Yeah, he was angry at me. He was angry at me. And it's like, I wanted to do this thing that I've been waiting for, where it's all genre. It's like, it takes our world, but by the end, it makes it a fantasy world. And it takes like these characters that are 3-dimensional and interesting, but the dialogue is something you'd hear from a Tarantino flick. And it's sci-fi and thriller. And it's like, it's all these things, and it's like all these things that I love to read, like F. Paul Wilson and, all these other things that kind of just dovetail off of each other and will refuse to be put in any type of box. Is it a detective story? Is it a sci-fi story? Yeah, it is all those things. So it's like when I started throwing ideas out to Jacob, it was like, yeah, what if we go totally over here? And he was like, why do I talk to you?
No, that's great. That was great. Yeah, I think that one thing you guys did so well, again, saying super spoiler free, one thing you guys did so well that I mentioned in my video was, I think the biggest struggle with most things I read in the cosmic horror vein is characters tend to be blank slates, or kind of like just a way to get to the concept of, this is much bigger than you. And now you feel minuscule. And I thought you guys were able to do that in a way that didn't just kind of shirk off, hey, these characters matter. These characters have, they have a reality to them within the world. And I thought that doing that at the same time as doing the social piece, where it was like, how would society react, right, to all of this, I thought was brilliant. Like, I think you easily could have been the social commentary that just used blank slate characters. And I think most people probably been fine with that. And you look at a lot of like sci-fi people who push back on some sci-fi. That's what they usually say, right? It's like the characters just existed to talk about the idea. Yeah. And I thought you guys did such a great job of talking about the idea, even up to the societal level, but still making some characters that were awesome. And so again, really excited to talk about this once we can talk more. But I think that part for me was a part that hit really well. And like, that's another reason why like Revival is probably one of my favorite stories. That has a lot of those same things. As King is a great character guy. And so like, it was a both hand. And I think it's funny. It's kind of ironic that the cosmic horror concept sticks with me so much. I think it's because I live in a world where people are constantly thinking about whether or not the world is bigger than them, and like trying to wrestle with that. And so like, while cosmic horror tends to take it the opposite direction of like meaningless, I do think that that's an interesting, question, right? Is like, is what you see or your worldview or what you believe to be real, can it just be destroyed in a moment? And what would happen if it was? I think it's such a really interesting concept. And so I thought you guys did a great job with.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
For sure. All right.
Thank you.
Got to keep going. We're into the rapid fire questions. So
okay.
For the chat, these are ones
you blow this.
They're going to be quick. All three of you have to answer them. They're a little less serious. They're not about discovery. We're
hooked up to electricity.
Yeah,
if we don't.
All right, are we ready for the first one? Who's going to go first? That's the real question.
Jacob. He's the youngest.
Jacob go first.
What?
This is
Oh,
a good
no.
Jacob question too.
Oh, good.
There you go.
All right, Jacob, you ready?
Okay.
If you could make any book into a movie, what would you pick?
Oh, that's a good.
Ooh. Like if I could direct it,
Yeah, you're
even if it's
you
been
get whatever
adapted
you
before?
get whatever you want to turn a book into the perfect movie of that book.
Frankenstein. I would want to do Frankenstein.
You
It's
would
been
wanna
done
do-
before, but I
you
would
want
want
to do
direct it
better
myself.
than
It's
I
being
like
done
that
right
answer.
now.
I like that.
Yeah,
answer.
but it's not out yet. It doesn't count.
most
Well, that
people
was
are
his
picking.
question. Let him do it.
Maybe
Most
it sucks.
people are-
We don't know. It's not out yet.
Most people are picking something that hasn't been made a movie, but again,
I-
Jacob spite.
I
can do it
immediately
better.
think
No,
if
no.
I directed it, what would I want to do? It would be Frankenstein.
That's sick. I like that.
Although I guess if it could be anything else, I think they might be doing a series for Sea of Tranquility. I don't know if it's
Okay.
confirmed yet. If they could do a series of Sea of Tranquility, I'd be very happy.
Awesome. Good answer. Good answer. All right, who we going to next? Any book into a movie? Amy?
I would go, well, like we actually talked about this in Discord today, but 2 classics. I would do like a really gritty version of Tale of Two Cities.
Oh,
Okay.
that would
And
be
I would
good.
do like Kendall and I talk about Tess of the D'Urbervilles, because like some of those old stories are just have a lot to say right now. That's what I would pick.
I need to go back to some classics because I hated all of them when I read them in high school.
Yeah.
And my 12 AP class made us read Tess of the D'Urbervilles and The Awakening in summer before school started.
That's not
That's
the
not
way.
good.
Yeah.
It was so mean, right?
That's
Like
not
Yeah.
kind.
I'm gonna hate it even if it was good. at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
And I was a 16-year-old.
It's
Right,
not going
like,
to work. Yeah.
And so when you said Tess of D'Urbervilles,
You just
I
kind of,
visibly
yeah.
did all right, John.
But it was so raunchy and so.
What I remember of The Awakening, I'm like, why did we read this in school? So
Yeah.
what I
Wake
remember
up.
of it, yeah.
I would say I would love to see Mine by Robert McCammon. Would make a great flick.
Have not read it yet. I need
You
to.
got to read that. Would make an amazing flick. Or At the Mountains of Madness, I think would make an
Ooh.
amazing flick.
Ooh, Guillermo del Toro was gonna do it.
Yeah,
I would like to see that.
that'd be amazing.
Those are good answers. All right, next question.
Except for Tess. You're
Except
not a
for
good
Ted,
answer.
you have to go sit in the corner.
That was
Tess
a
of the
that was a
D'Urbervilles.
horrible answer.
No.
From what I remember, I might fall asleep. I'm just
Kendall was
Oh,
cheering me
Britain's
right
right. City of Thieves would be a great movie.
now. I wonder why they haven't.
I can't believe they haven't yet. That would be an amazing flick.
This is,
Yeah.
that's the Game of Thrones guy, right?
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
if Benioff has the same name appeal as he used to.
He might want to let somebody else finish the last season if it's a show. Just saying.
Looked great on that sci-fi on Netflix. That's going well.
What was
Three Body Problem?
He Three Body Problem?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he has the last book finished to read, so he's good.
Should be all right.
He doesn't have to make it up himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully they give him the amount of episodes that he needs. I saw somebody post the other day a video of one of the bad scenes in season 8 of Game of Thrones, and I like legitimately got angry by myself.
Again.
Right? Like,
Again.
yeah, I
Which was
just
it?
like,
Which was it? Let's all get angry again.
It was the murder of the ice guy.
Really? You didn't like that? I thought that was like the
You
The-
thought
the-
that was good? Nothing happened, and you couldn't even see the whole episode. It was so dark. I had to like change my.
That's
It
true.
was really dark.
It was
Yeah.
really dark.
was
I
really
thought it
dark.
was your
I mean,
TV.
No, it was not my
No,
TV.
it was not your TV. Spoiler alert! No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I just thought it was.
Look, you've had time to watch that.
Yeah.
my
If you're not-
biggest problem is I watched I don't know if you guys ever watched. Do you know who Ryan George is on YouTube? He does the pitch meetings. You've never watched pitch meetings?
Oh, I have seen these
Okay.
actually.
He has
Yeah.
the pitch meeting for season 8 of Game of Thrones. You have to go watch it. And it's
I'll
basically
look it up.
him pretending to be the producer and the writer talking to each other. And it goes back and forth between him doing both. And he's like basically pitching to the producer why the season's going to be terrible and why he chooses to do all these things. And after he pointed out some of them, I was just like, oh my gosh, I didn't notice that. It's even worse now. So if you have never watched those pitch meetings, they're absolutely great. All right, next question. We're gonna have to go reverse
No, I
order
feel
this
bad.
time.
All right, reverse order.
Who
Oh,
was
that
the
means
first
I'm first.
booktuber you ever watched regularly?
I think it was Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Mike.
You.
My sweet, sweet husband.
I think it was Daniel Green, but
Nice.
now I watch Mike pretty regularly too now.
It was Daniel, Mike, Elliot Brooks, and Murphy for me, for sure.
Mm.
And then it kind of trickled down from there. And I found the beautiful community of sub 10,000
Ramble.
YouTubers.
Tutor Ramble.
Oh my gosh, I can't even remember what the first Tutor Ramble video I watched was, but it made me angry, whichever one it was. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you. All right, gotta go back the other way this time. Snake draft here. Is there a genre of books that you just can't do? Like you just not for me.
Medieval fantasy.
That's true.
That's true. Mom can't get into it.
Yeah,
Can't do it.
I mean, if it's
Come on.
Although you did read like the first 3 Game of Thrones, like Song of Ice and Fire, you read like you got 3 books in.
Yeah, that was unusual.
That was unusual.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, medieval fantasy for you. What about you, Jacob?
Straight up romance for me. I
Oh,
can't
gosh.
do that.
You're not gonna read the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore anytime soon.
Except at
No,
Come on.
Tess
My
of the
wife just read
D'Urbervilles.
that, so
the Gallant was great, but I don't know if I'd call it a romance book.
I've seen
No.
it. Doesn't count.
No,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think I could. Nonfiction is not my
John
thing.
does not read something that's true.
Yeah.
yeah.
If it's true, it has very little to offer me.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
weird because you love historical fiction. Like if
Yeah.
if it's based in reality, you love it. But if it's straight up reality,
If it's straight up reality, I
Get it away
want no
from
part
me.
of that.
You won't do
That's
it.
interesting. So if Robert McCammon wrote a biography of, I don't know, some like cool guy during the Salem witch trials, you wouldn't
You
read
lost me at biography.
it. Right, but it's Robert McCammon
You won't do
I'd
it.
probably read
and
it.
the
if it was
Salem
Robert
witch.
McCammon.
Okay.
I don't think you've ever read a nonfiction book that I've seen you. I've just never seen you read one.
Yeah, I don't think you ever will.
Man. All right. Next one. My buddy, oh, I gotta pull this one up. You might agree with this, John. I can read reality on Wikipedia.
Right there, man. It's right there. It's a click
You
away.
read Wikipedia. I don't think you even read that.
I'll look something up now and again.
Mm.
John will read Rick Thunder's autobiography.
Oh, especially if Robert McCammon wrote it.
yeah.
Read
Oh man.
by Charles
That'd be-
Dance.
That'd be perfect.
Could we go back in time and get Cocaine Stephen King to write Rick Thunder's autobiography?
Yeah,
That
So
would be
many.
perfect.
Or biography, not autobiography, of course.
that'd be amazing.
All right, we got I think 2 more rapid fires here.
Okay.
This one is gonna determine, how I rank you guys as my favorite people. So
Oh wow.
I'm
Okay.
gonna be at the
Jacob
bottom.
goes first.
All right.
I've already said I was cool with the Iceman death, so now
rank these
already
movies in
fine.
order of best to worst. The Green
Yeah,
Mile,
but you brought up
Shawshank,
Tess of
Stand
the
By Me.
D'Urbervilles.
Oh,
I got some
Okay.
bad news.
Oh,
for
these
you,
are
future.
hard.
Shawshank 1, Stand By Me 2, Green Mile 3.
Wrong. Okay.
Okay.
Shawshank is the best movie out of those 3. That's a fact.
Jacob, if you haven't watched these, we're not talking to you. I'm just gonna take you out of
Yeah.
I've seen these. I'm sorry.
You haven't seen any of these?
No, I know.
You haven't seen Shawshank Redemption?
I have not yet seen Shawshank Redemption.
Jacob.
Jacob, you have to watch that
Oh,
now.
I
Like
know.
watch that with Amanda tonight. I mean, that's such
Oh my
a
gosh.
gorgeous movie.
I know.
Jacob, it's Frank Darabont. What is wrong with you?
Dude, you have
It's so good.
problems.
Buddy,
It's so all 3 of these are just
Yeah,
top-
yeah.
All 3 of these are amazing.
Yeah.
say Green Mile to me is I can't take that scene. I can't.
It's really good.
It's well done, but I can't take it.
I'm
I'm gonna
tired,
go-
boss. I'm tired, boss. That's
Ugh, mm-mm.
I don't know, man. I think Amy might have. I mean, I think it's Shawshank, Stand By Me, Green Mile.
All right, I'm
what
gonna
is
go-
what is the correct answer, Breacher?
It's Green Mile, Shawshank, Stand By Me.
Oh, it's just as written.
Yes, yeah. I double faked you out there.
You couldn't write it any other way.
yeah.
It had
I
to
mean-
be listed that way.
You gotta understand the Green Mile is full of biblical imagery, so that is like, I mean, John Coffey, JC, like all the innocent guy sacrifice for all that stuff. So Shawshank, I absolutely love. The first time I ever watched it with my wife, She cried so hard during the scene. She really loves old people. She's a hospice nurse, and she just has like this just beating hard for older people. And there's the scene where the old guy gets out of prison. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
And she was like, turn it off. Like, we're not, and then Stand By Me is just, I would say probably 3 on that list because not as much happens in Stand By Me.
Yeah, but everything happens.
Right. It's just that slice of life.
Yeah.
Those are 3 beautiful
coming
movies.
of age.
Though.
Yeah,
Those
really
are
are
3 beautiful movies.
Yeah.
3 beautiful movies that normies never know are by Stephen King, by the way.
Yeah,
I bring it up and they're like, really?
Yeah.
Because they're all hard realism.
Yeah. Which is my favorite Stephen King.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day. So I think he actually does. Like drama and coming of age realism the best out of everything he does. But those are 3 of my top 5 favorite movies.
I love also Misery and Dolores Claiborne.
Oh,
like those are really great stories.
Yeah, we had I talked to you guys a little bit about this. By the way, we were in the same place for vacation and didn't hang out. Upset. Little upset. Just so you didn't know. It's
they were like across the street eating.
I think we were across the street
from.
Were you really?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Literally. He said it's like he was at this bookstore shopping. It's like we were talking about that bookstore eating pizza across the street.
Yeah, it kind of hurts my heart,
God.
but that's okay. I took all these people over to the bookstore that they were with me because I wasn't on vacation. I was working technically.
We were on vacation.
Not very hard work. But and one of the kids was like, he was one of my college students. He's a chaperone, and he was like, man, I need psychological horror. I need 0 to 100, and I want it to be like quick. And I was like,
What'd you give him?
here's Misery, right? Like,
oh,
there you go. And it's worked for him. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I think we bought like 20 some books while we were in there.
Oh my God.
Like the lady was just like ringing people up left and right. I'm just
I bet you're
slinging
just like,
books
well,
at
this
people.
is a good day.
Yeah, I'm just slinging books at people. It was great. But I would have cried if I would have known you guys were there and we weren't hanging out. So
Yeah. Right across the street. That's
yeah.
bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The next one is another quick one.
Okay.
What's one movie, book, or show you've never watched or read that is hugely popular? Like
Shawshank Redemption.
Now that's a great answer.
Fair. Just one where you go, I've never seen that. And people are like, what?
You've seen everything.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Why are you looking at your?
No, because I'm trying to think of books I haven't. People are telling me all the time, you haven't
It's
read
just
that
one
yet?
Movie, book, or show.
All the time.
What's one movie, book, or show that you've never watched or read that is hugely popular?
Twilight.
Twilight.
Akatar.
50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, you're not missing out on that one. Have you guys ever seen the College Humor skit of the guy who does the parrot in Aladdin doing the 50 Shades of Grey audiobook?
No.
Gilbert Gottfried.
I'm gonna send you the link afterwards.
Okay.
It's set up like a like.
Is it really Gilbert Gottfried though?
Yes, it is. It's set up like a commercial, and it's like here. It's like instead of reading the newest amazing book, hear it for the first time, read by Gilbert Gottfried, and then he is reading the nastiest lines in the book. It's ridiculous. I'll just send it to you guys to check out. But
That's
man.
Amy, you got anything?
Twilight. I haven't seen
Oh,
Twilight.
you haven't seen. That was your answer. Got it.
Yeah.
You haven't.
But
I
I
haven't
haven't
seen
seen
Twilight.
Twilight either.
I've seen the first movie.
There needs to be a
It's a
conversation.
vampire movie. Of course I saw it.
Huh?
It was
There
so
needs
bad
to-
I didn't see the rest.
Then
There
you
needs
can't
to be
say
a
that.
conversation about, speaking of Twilight, about how weird it is when like 700-year-old vampires like high schoolers. But that's another conversation.
That is another.
Yeah.
It's an urgent conversation though.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
The show my wife likes? Vampire Diaries, right? Like, bro's like 600 years old, and he's going to
Yeah.
high school, crushing on teenagers, and it's like,
Mm-mm.
don't know how that goes. All right, we're out of the first round of the fast stuff.
Just
so-
a
Alright.
moment. Britton commented and said that he hasn't seen Young Frankenstein, and that's a crime because you would
Oh,
love Young
Britton.
Frankenstein, Britton.
Yeah.
Britain.
That is
Man.
a movie you would love.
Yeah.
Me Too with Twilight. Haven't read Malazan. I haven't either. I'm starting it next month though with Four Corners of the Page and Zachary Shea. We're gonna be reading Gardens of the Moon together.
I read book 1, and now I get.
Does it have a dragon in it? Then I haven't read it.
Oh, it does actually.
Then I haven't read it.
Rose makes a good point. There is a separate category called good cringe.
Yeah, that is true.
I agree.
Sure.
And I think that may be fair. Hold on. Sebastian just won the day. We never read or watched Harry Potter. All right. I'm
wow.
out.
Wow. Okay.
That's wow.
It.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, gosh. Nothing beats that. But all right. So back to the serious stuff, back to the Discovery stuff. One of my favorite parts of Discovery was the feel and the tone. And we've talked a little bit about kind of like how it moves left and right, even down to like the structure stuff. And I even asked Amy, asked you some questions about like the naming of the different, sections and stuff. And a lot of that came up from that is like, well, I'm from this like area of fiction and creativity, and John's over here and Jacob's over here. Talk a little bit about how like your unique interests and your knowledge and your education and stuff helps you guys to kind of like make a book that I thought was like cinematic and literary and kind of all of the above.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's I think you nailed it though, because Jacob is on. Yeah.
Thanks, preacher.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob had gone to school to be a director, and I went to school to write literary fiction, and John comes
eschewed all things education
and just reads genre like nobody's business. And
hung out and read Robert McCammon.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but has read so much genre, and so coming together with all of our interests, that's exactly where it intersects is this book.
Yeah, I guess the education that I think theater and improvisational theater helped me a lot with my part of it. So
yeah,
like the prologue.
Yes,
I get to see you walking back and forth in the kitchen, just yelling the prologue.
It doesn't have to move.
There's no walking. The only movement is wild hand movements.
Yeah, there's spittle.
There's a lot of spittle.
And anybody within a 5-mile radius must wear ear protection.
Yeah.
I get kind of like Gilbert Godfrey reading 50 Shades of Grey.
I'm going to tie you up, and I'm gonna look, and you will be like this, and tied like this.
Yeah, I'll get going like that.
All right, guys, that's the peak of this. We're just gonna end the stream on that. It doesn't get any better.
No one's ever going to take us seriously as authors if you treat it like this, Dad.
Oh gosh, audiobooks are my like third favorite way of reading books, but I kind of want to just I want you guys to get the audiobook done one day so I can just hear the prologue. I don't even care who does it. I just want to hear the prologue.
You know what? I mean,
no,
it's not
okay.
I mean, we have a friend that does audiobooks, and as a favor to us, he recorded the prologue.
Oh dear God!
Just so we could hear what that would sound like as an audio. And he's got the narrator.
You guys have my Gmail. I'm gonna need that.
No, he said we couldn't share it with anyone, but he has like a home studio put together for us.
He did
I am not anyone. So.
I am no one.
Don't bring back the bad memories because that storyline also wasn't ended well, Amy. The I am no one storyline. That's Game of Thrones, right? I am no one with the man of many faces and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't like that. No, I didn't.
I didn't like that.
I didn't like that.
No one did.
No
one did.
No.
Oh gosh. All right.
No.
I think those are great
but
answers.
I thought the Iceman death was fine.
Yeah.
It was just too short. It was too quick. It was too much.
Too
much build up for. It felt
it was great. It was amazing in that episode because finally something is like, I see that.
There's lights on.
It was like it was like all of a sudden there was like, that's a picture.
I'm telling you, you've got to go watch the pitch meeting because he points out all these like major inconsistencies. Like,
am I gonna get mad all over again?
Yes.
The whole army right goes into the pitch black dark and dies, and then the next episode, the guy has a whole army again. Like the company that he hires, they like all exist again. It's like, wait, I thought every single one of these people died last episode. He points out all these little inconsistencies.
They just got
but-
turned around.
Yeah. We're not here to talk about that absolute disaster. So
I'm just I'm mad again.
I'm going to get mad on them.
I'm so now you have to go rewatch it.
I know.
I'm not rewatching that.
No.
But you know what? You remember when that came out and we were so mad?
Yes.
And my dad came over and he hadn't been watching that at all. And he was like, I don't understand what it was. We were just livid. Like we're just like red faced and spittle. Just like we were so upset. And he's like, I just got so upset about a TV show. It's like, you don't understand. We've been waiting for this.
I do remember that it was that final season was coming out like while I was at college, and the new episode would come out, and I would call you guys.
Yeah,
we would be frustrated and annoyed. And we'd go, but man, the new episode of Barry was really good, though.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that softened the blow just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barry was killing it.
Not every TV show can end perfectly. Actually, I have a very strong opinion that the best ending to a TV show ever is Sons of Anarchy. Some people don't love that ending. I thought it was the greatest. You've never watched Sons of Anarchy?
I have not.
There you
either.
go. I really love that show. I love
John,
that show.
You gotta.
I mean, Breaking Bad ended pretty great.
Breaking Bad ended great, but it was an ending that I was like, yeah, that's the ending that should have happened. The ending in Sons of Anarchy is like, it's the last. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's both awful and perfect at the same time. Technically, you probably should know the ending because that whole show is based off of a Shakespeare play.
Yeah.
Now he's figured out pretty quick.
Now that you said that, he's going to watch it.
Yeah, you have to. It's amazing. Now Dexter, on the other hand, that's a fumble at ending, but we'll talk about that another day.
I didn't watch Dexter.
You've never watched
the first season or so.
Really good stuff. All right. Back to some rapid fire questions.
All right,
this is one rapid fire question for each of you, though, this time. So much quicker. Jacob.
Yeah.
How much of a boomer is John when it comes to technology and Booktube?
You can't even fathom.
Can I get some specifics?
The specifics are that every time that we go to record a video, somewhere in your studio right now, there is a notebook with handwritten, like, number 1, turn the lights on. Number 2, turn the computer on. Somewhere in the studio, that notebook exists of like instructions of how to turn things on.
I have a Chuck Yeager checklist before I light this candle and go on the test flight that Jacob has put together for me that I have to go through.
Although, to be fair, you have gotten better, because it used to be like 3 years ago. Obviously, we were still living together. You would like call me down from upstairs and go, "Can you print this for me?" Like you were afraid to go anywhere near the printer.
I have seen this man copying things down from his computer screen, like writing them down. And it was like, do you know what Command P does?
Do you have any idea how frustrating it is when your writing partner for a book hands you, this is my idea for a monologue, and it's 8 pages, handwritten, front and back,
on a Big Chief tablet and blue crayon?
It's so inconvenient to copy all that down.
That's the best part. I can just imagine. I'm gonna need pictures of that for sure, especially if it's book 2. Because I need book 2. Give me book 2, please.
I mean, I would hand them stuff. They would get mad at me because I would hand them stuff. It's like, here, I wrote this. It's like, what do I do with this? Like, put it in a
type it.
Email it to me.
You guys should get him one of those tablets that he can write on, and then it turns it into text.
See,
we've tried everything. He used to have.
Or would he not know how to turn that tablet on?
I think he had a laptop for about 30 days, and he sold it.
Yeah,
he sold it.
That might have been. That might be.
He needed a new quill.
Yeah, I wanted a new quill.
You're sharpening your teeth.
Yeah. My dad is also a boomer. And again, this has nothing to do with when you're born. It's a spectrum. But he's like a 9 out of 10 boomer. And one time he just started posting all these weird pictures on Facebook of just pictures of things, right? And like no captions, nothing. It was just like picture of It was like one of was a picture of like a gun, and it was like a picture of like this other thing, and I was like, Dad, what are you doing? He's like, I'm selling stuff. I was like,
Who knows that?
I was like, you have to put it on Marketplace. And he was like, what's Marketplace? And I had to explain to him what Marketplace was. It was so sad.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I need to meet your dad.
You know,
No.
you guys, yeah, he doesn't even know
man.
he doesn't know how to log on to his email. So like he has an email. He doesn't know how to log on to it. So
Yeah,
If
you're
John
better than
gets
that,
kicked
Dad.
out of his, if he gets kicked out of his email, he can't log on to it.
That's true.
No.
Yeah. Although he
that's-
doesn't know that, or he doesn't know how. You know how on your phone you can go into settings and set up like keyboard shortcuts?
Yeah.
This must have been like 6. How
You were
long
in
ago
high
was
school.
this, Mom?
You were
that
in
You were in
did
high
this?
school.
This was so long ago, maybe 10 years ago that this happened. That my mom went into my dad's phone and set up a keyboard shortcut so that anytime he types out LOL, what does it say? I can't even remember now.
I am laughing with volume.
Yeah. Never been changed.
Stop.
For 8 years, I to
don't
this day
care.
receive
It
text
gets
from
the
my
point
dad that says I'm
across.
laughing with volume.
Oh gosh, that is fantastic, but it can be difficult living life with boomers. I understand, Jacob. So I'm the youngest person on staff full time at our church, and so when COVID hit, they were like, "Hey, we need online giving and a live stream next week," and I was like, "Why me?" And they were like, "We don't know what we're doing," and so I just had to like. They were like, "Here's a budget." Like go make it happen. And so we went from like no online giving, no live stream, basically no internet presence to all like the whole shebang in a week.
Wow.
And then I had to like show them all how to use it. And very similarly, there's literally a piece of paper, like it's on the wall beside the live stream computer that just says, turn on the computer.
Yeah.
Do this, like do this.
Make
I'm
sure it's plugged in.
Yeah. That's the Chuck Yeager checklist. I've got that too.
Yeah. Our live stream didn't have sound on Sunday for 10 minutes because it was on mute.
Been there.
Yeah.
There have been Talking Story episodes that were just completely lost because Dad forgot to hit the record button.
Oh yeah, that's happened. Sure.
Oh, that's
I remember that
okay,
time you
man.
came downstairs, like you've been up here an hour, and
Yeah.
you came down, and you were just like white as a sheet.
Jake
Said,
was so mad at me.
it's like, our son is really mad at. I was
Yeah.
like, well, what'd you do? It's like we did that whole episode. I hadn't pressed record. I was
Yeah.
like, and I think he's like apoplectic right now. He's
Yeah.
He was very upset.
I imagine too, like, and I may be totally wrong here, but watching enough of your videos, like, I feel like you're just reacting and like you're being you. It's really genuine. It's not scripted. So like having to do a second time, I feel like you'd lose a little bit of that like luster, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But John can't do anything the same way twice.
Right,
it
that's what I
was
mean, it's like
probably
you'd lose
it was
so
like
much.
it was probably
Yeah.
a completely new show.
Yeah.
Like it was totally different.
Jacob's like, yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was an entire new 50 minutes. That
yeah.
Could have made it 2 videos, man.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Oh,
Zach, I
God.
can't see Jacob mad yelling. Jacob doesn't yell when he gets
I don't
mad.
really yell. It's really hard to get me angry. I
feel
don't
like-
even think I was angry at you when that happened.
I
It's
feel like
just-
he
Quiet.
told you.
He gets
breathes.
I get
very
Yeah.
quiet.
He'd
He
hit you with the
breathes.
like, I'm disappointed face, right?
He
Like,
breathes and he blinks.
He was.
He breathes and he blinks.
well, everyone. now, if I ever meet Jacob in person, I'm gonna like be worried he's mad at me because he's breathing and blinking.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
You know, but oh man, but Britton, he was probably glaring daggers at John. You know, this Jacob has less. This Jacob has less editing.
If you ever see a Talking Story video where I'm like really, really checked out, it's probably because we're recording it the second time.
Well, you've like really like I've loved seeing. I think we've talked about this before. I've loved seeing the progression because I started watching your channel before you were like talking at all, even behind the screen, right? And then I remember the video where it was like, "There's a guy behind the camera," you know. And then it was like the next video was like you talked twice, and I was like, or it was like just the intro. Like I think for a while it was basically like you just showed up in the intro, and then the video happened. And then the moment you guys like loved the channel, and the moment you guys like just went for it with having both, like it was just like, yes, this is exactly, because you're deadpan and he's like, your dad is just so not right. Like, did you guys did people push you to do that, or did y'all decide like on your own, like, hey, let's just go for this?
It was really organic. I mean, at first I wasn't in it at all, because you would record it in our like little white void room, and you were entirely alone. You would shut the door and do it yourself.
It was like a break room at work, and I'd take a break and just hit the camera and do something during the break, and then I'd give the stick to you.
And then we set up a studio at home in my office. So I'm just like sitting at my desk working, and my dad's recording a talking story video. And it's like, I'm gonna make fun of him. I'm sitting right here.
Right.
I might as well. And I can't remember how long it took. That I think it was your idea, Dad, that like, well, we have an extra microphone. Why don't we just set it up?
And then when you moved out, it's like the easiest way for you to put it together is to be on camera.
To be there and remind you to turn your lights on.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. All right,
in the dark.
Now to Amy.
All right,
Amy, what is your favorite book that isn't classic or literary fiction?
Oh,
I would prefer you to go as far the opposite direction as possible.
You're gonna have to come back to me.
Oh,
50 Shades of Grey.
Just complete genre. John, help me. I'm blanking.
John, help me.
Your favorite?
Yeah, just like a complete.
Got to be
genre.
Stephen King. You grew up reading.
Yeah, it's gonna be horror.
Yeah.
I thought maybe Harry Potter.
Oh, that might be
Not a favorite.
not favorite. I would say Stephen King.
Probably Stephen King.
Yeah.
Probably one of the probably Dolores Claiborne. I'll say that. Does that count as horror? Yeah. I'll say Dolores Claiborne. I really like that one. Yeah.
That fits. Go.
Sorry.
Cool. I mean,
Sorry.
answering Stephen King is always correct. So
Yes. Yeah.
unless you say Cell, and then you're
I could
wrong.
say my favorite literary.
You're what?
I could say my favorite literary.
All right, hit me with
Well,
it.
you're
While
not-
we're here,
You're not hosting.
Far and away from genre.
You're not hosting.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not.
I've decided that you can say your favorite literary.
I don't want to be like Jake and just take over the line.
Tess at the D'Urbervilles.
No, I was
I'm
going to
kidding.
say The Masterpiece by Emile Zola.
Really?
Yep.
No clue what that is. I felt
That's how literary
you were
it is.
talking about it.
That's really good.
That's how literary it is.
It was a book I gave him.
That's how it's so literary.
That you've never even heard of it. Look it up. Emile Zola, The Masterpiece. That's the final answer.
Yeah, I would say if I'm thinking like books I read in English class, gosh, they were all so bad. And they probably weren't
bad.
Just
You just
bad in
didn't
the
like them at
moment.
the time.
Probably Fahrenheit 451 because it was just the most happened in that one.
Oh, I thought you were saying Fahrenheit 451.
No, of the ones I
bad.
liked.
Okay,
No, of the ones I liked for sure. I remember
That's genre.
That's genre too.
Hey, why do you gotta be so? that's genre. Well, then, yeah, I got nothing. I remember reading Great Expectations and being like, if nothing happens for another 300 pages, I'm throwing this book out the window.
It's the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Oh my gosh.
That's just got to be bad. That's got to be bad teachers because, like, just like
I'm gonna let Miss Dietrich know. She might be watching this right now.
It's an orphan who meets a convict in a graveyard, and the convict jacks him up and asks him for pie. I mean, like,
I got to read this book. What is this?
It's Great Expectations.
My description of it, and again, this. I'm 33. I was 17. My remembrance of Great Expectations is orphan kid is told someone's giving him money, and he talks about it for 900 pages.
Look, orphan kid also has to go into the home of an old woman who is so
boring.
Not over the person who. This is not a boring old woman. It's Miss Haversham. She's like the opposite of boring.
Miss Haversham.
She's
with a name like Haversham. How could you be boring? I just love
How long has she been in there?
You're so around the bend on this.
I feel like I brought a rift between this family.
Yeah,
I don't
so
know.
want you to know,
like
preacher, this argument will
her name
continue
is
for the next 4
the
days.
argument.
I fell asleep as you were saying her name. No just kidding. Yeah, I mean, we read that. We read like Grapes of Wrath. We read Tessa Reveals the Awakening. I will say my 12 AP teacher did, like after those, let us do one where she gave 25 books that were popular books, and we had to pick one and do a presentation on it. And that was actually where I read Ender's Game, which is in my top 10 all time. And like that's memorable. I probably picked up Something Wicked This Way Comes because Fahrenheit 451 was pretty solid.
Both those are genre.
Apparently not literary. I don't know.
No,
I mean,
Ender's Game and
oh no, Ender's Game for sure. I'm still not
Yeah.
giving you Fahrenheit 451 though. So.
dude, that's sci-fi. Stop it. Classic, but it's very much sci-fi.
Well, fight me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh man, this one has a misspelling in it, but we're gonna go with it anyway. John, what's the best?
Joe.
What's the best book you've ever read because of your audience?
Oh man, that's hard.
Like you wasn't
That's
on the
a good
radar at
question.
all.
I know the answer to this.
One of us.
That's so hard because I mean, I've read some amazing books that I wouldn't. You know, I like you, man. I started like reading a bunch of horror, and I kind of when I started the channel, it's like I'm gonna catch up on fantasy and some stuff that I mean, I read The Song of Ice and Fire and some of the biggies, but you know, I would probably say,
Malazan?
I mean,
Hackathon.
I
was going to say Assassin's Apprentice. I
would say it's probably Robin Hobb.
Mm-hmm.
It's somewhere now. Malazan might outdo it, but I've only read the first book, so yeah, I would probably have to say Robin Hobb.
What about Zach said One Piece? You know, yeah.
I mean, One Piece is continually surprising me. Like Zach was telling me what it was going to do and where I was going to get to it and everything, and I was like, "Come on, man, that's not going to happen." And it's like, I'm actually reading faster to get to the end of a book so I can get to a One Piece volume between.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, my first foray into that type of literature was Slay giving me Berserk. So
I hear that's out there, man.
The first page is things that I probably can't say on this channel.
Oh, GGK. Look, McScarfield, GGK. Yeah, that's another great one. That's another great
I have not hopped into that yet.
Oh, you got it. He's amazing. I mean,
Britain
that's
says, it gets dark. It gets dark? What do you mean it gets dark? It's darker than the one episode of Game of Thrones in the first page. Gosh, I love Berserk. I mean, I think I'm probably going to end up liking it, but it definitely was a interesting foray into manga for me. But I thought you were going to say I thought maybe you were going to say Dungeon Crawler Carl.
No, that's not the best.
Yeah,
I like it a lot. It's surprising how good it is.
How far are you?
2 books.
Oh, you keep going. Got it. Book three. Book 3 is I think book 3 is probably my second favorite.
Okay.
Of those.
I'll get to it.
Yeah, you'll catch up. But all right, let's see. Last big question here. What has been your favorite memory in the process of making Discovery? Like what just sticks in your mind is like when I wrote this question, I was also thinking of like, what was the moment where you were like, we're going to do it. Like, this is going to happen. Like, we're going to finish. We're going to actually do this instead of just like try to do it. We're going to do it.
I mean, I think my favorite moment might be really close to the beginning. Because it's one of the moments that we
Just
still
downhill
talk about.
from there.
Yeah.
It never got better. But I mean, we still talk about the moment that like we were all sitting on the back porch at their house, and it was a sunny day, and we were talking about, oh, wouldn't it be a crazy idea if this game show host discovered Cthulhu at the bottom of the ocean? And that was kind of like where it began. And it just started with us trying to make each other laugh. Like, I don't even think we had the idea that we're really gonna put our all into this and try and write it and try and get it out. That it was just us having fun together. That now that we're getting into book 2, we've spent a lot of time thinking about like recapturing that energy of just going back to having fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now you guys have to beat that answer. So
Now you gotta
Well,
follow
it's,
that.
it's
tough.
more along the lines of just that, and like some of the funniest lines of the book of for me. It's just
the youth think are the funniest lines.
yeah, I think are the funnest lines. I just remember like us cracking each other up as a family, just like trying to top each other, and just like, is that, is this funny? Is this funny? How about this? How about this? And then like when we were just really hitting it and we were kind of like on a roll, like some of that stuff was just, we're just entertaining each other. And like one of my writing teachers said to me that, not me personally, but me as part of a class.
Yeah, I think he was just talking to you. The rest of you can be excused. Not you, Amy. Sit right down center here. I want to tell you something.
That's about right. So yeah, but just like a writer is doing his or her best when they're at play. So we took that pretty seriously.
Yeah.
And even if it's not comedy, there were times that someone would write something horror related and show it to the rest of us and go like, nah, more.
Yeah.
More blood.
especially your dad. I'll just like come in and I say this because it has to be printed. I can't give him
He won't read
anything
on the
his-
screen.
He
It
won't
has
read
to
on
be
his screen
printed.
or his iPad, so I have to print it out, and he'll read it. And I was like, "Nope, you haven't scared me yet." Anyway, just like there was like 5 drafts of something one time where he's like, "You're kind of getting close." It's like, wow.
Or you would
That's
show
like
something
tough
and I would
audience.
remember it incorrectly and go, you know what I like when the guy says this.
And it just never happened.
And it was like never, that was never in a draft, never happened. And then she'd have to go back and go, I had to put that line in.
nice.
It was too good.
Plus, he thinks I wrote it.
Yeah, plus he thinks I wrote it.
This is like the easiest audience ever.
I know.
Oh, gosh.
I have a completely different. You guys are not going to think was the best of times.
What?
Okay. It's weird, but this is my fondest memory. We were so close to finishing this book. Like we were literally, I think, 30 pages away from finishing this book.
This
And
was
we
my most feared memory. Like this was the worst time. I was so upset.
I love
We
this
were all
dichotomy.
we're all sitting around a table, and Amy looked at us and said, "We have to start over." There's no way. It just doesn't. We have to
Doesn't
start
work.
Oh no.
And it's like we were so crushed and so hurt, and so, it's like, but I still remember that as the most fondest because we all came back to the table and kept going. We wanted it to be as good as it could be, so we didn't just push through for 30 pages and just like think, screw it, we can be at the finish line.
Yeah.
And there were just several things that in that moment of defeat, I still remember as one of the fondest moments because we overcame it,
Interesting.
That's
You know
deep.
what? We wrote a second draft of the book.
Yeah.
And she did it again.
She did it again. She sat at the table and said, guys,
We got to
This-
start
this-
over.
this isn't book 1. We have
This
to
is
back
2
up.
books.
This is book 2. It's probably book 2.
So Britton's asking, you guys did rewrite it after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
We
you
rewrote
had to go write another book.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked. It worked.
We continuously kept thinking, or my mom continuously kept pointing out to us that this is all the work we've done is probably not book 1, it's probably book 2. And we've now done that enough times that our original draft is now book 3.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
Nice. That's good. You've written more books officially than Patrick Rothfuss. All right, moving on. Don't get me started.
I'll show myself out.
Yeah. Those are great answers. I did not have this question down, but it's one I find really interesting. My experience reading books from YouTubers, I'm 3 for 3, right? Or 4 for 4 if you count one of the series, of them just being so good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And what's frustrating is like I talk to friends and I'm like, hey, I read this, you gotta get it, right? And sometimes I'll hear, well, is that Booktuber good, or is it like good? And I'm like, guys, this is like the 4 books I've read by people who have YouTube channels have been probably some of the best books I've read in the last 2 years. And I think there's probably a reason for that. It's probably like you're immersed in this world to the point where like you have eyes on these things at a higher level than probably, I would even argue, most like traditionally published authors. You're reading more, you're engaging more with the content and what people want and what people like and what you want to do and what hits for you. Because I've read obviously Discovery. I've read Andrew Watson's 2 novels.
Yeah, I haven't read those.
You're gonna absolutely love it. What a cool combination of high fantasy and cosmic horror. Like, it really nails that. Very high fantasy, but does a lot of similar stuff in terms of like slipping in the cosmic horror stuff. And then obviously I read Tori's Bloodstones.
That was great.
Yeah, it was so good.
That was phenomenal. Yeah, I totally agree.
Do you think, John, especially that like doing these videos and reading how much you read, do you think that is probably a helper to like creating a really good novel?
I think so, because like they're saying, like I'm good at the 30,000 foot thing, they'll we got all these plot threads and all these characters and it has to come together. And it's like, I've read so many books that I can come in and look at all that and kind of organize and see a structure sometimes because of the amount that I've taken in.
Right.
So I can kind of see a shortcut. It's like, well, what if we kind of, move these strands here, and they intersect, and it's like, I can give just enough of a nudge or a push, and then they're off. Everyone's moving. So I think it helps in that regard for sure.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great answer. My sister over here asked, what's the 4th book? The 4th book was the 2nd book from Andrew Watson. Yeah. And I have The Immortal Investigation on the shelf ready to go here soon.
Just read it.
You did?
Yeah.
Can you give me a thumbs up?
It's so fun. It's so fun.
It looks like it's going to be fantastic.
It is so fun. Like if you like Buffy or Dresden or any of those type of paranormal romance series that just sink you in a world, he really nails that. He really nails it. It was so much fun. I had a great time.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna hopefully get to it in the next month or 2. I keep getting dragged into all these buddy reads that are like I've got to go get a Book of the New Sun off the shelf and start here probably the next day.
It's coming up, man.
I think I'm gonna bring. Honestly, I don't write in books. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna bring a pen with me on that one.
Oh yeah.
Just actually like, I'm a little what's the word I'm looking for? Like I'm a little like nervous about the idea of like having to talk about this book with Rockio, and
I say we just pepper him with questions.
Right. Like, do I even pretend like I know what I'm talking about at this point?
No. Christopher, what did this mean?
And like,
I started the audiobook for it today. I'm going to have to do that. Like I had to, I listened to the first chapter while I was grocery shopping, and it was right about like, all right, I'm scanning bread, I'm scanning egg. What's happening? What am I listening to? I have no idea it's been 20 minutes. I have no idea what's going on.
Definitely can't audiobook that one for me. That's for sure. Well, and I know too, I've heard a couple people say this already. And I've heard a couple people say, I'm excited to hear what Preacher thinks. Cause he's coming from a religious like angle. And I'm like, but like he's Catholic, and apparently all these references are like 2nd century, like he references this 2nd century Catholic saint and like all this stuff. I'm like, guys, like I'm super Protestant. Like,
and by that I mean I wear a cape on Sundays.
I wear jeans to church, preach in jeans. I don't know who Dionysius is at all, right? And so I'm like, are people like, I'm like, am I going to know any of this stuff? I'm going to have to Google it too. But I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be interesting.
Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Google
I'm also,
you.
I'm
Google you.
right smack dab in the middle of Sun Eater. And so I'm kind of stoked to see like how much of I see in that's
me too.
coming across.
Me too.
I just finished up Queen Amid Ashes today, the second novella.
Oh, that's a good one.
It was interesting, man. My buddy asked me what I thought of it, and my biggest struggle with it was that the other novella wasn't from his POV, and so it felt like a shift, where it was like, okay, this is a novella, it's not in first person, I'm watching someone else, and then this novella, it just feels like a short, like main book in the series because it's
really
Hadrian,
did.
it's first person.
Oh, it's Hadrian? I didn't
it
know.
is.
Yeah. Queen Amid Ashes is Hadrian.
It
and you
feels
really get
just like the main books. It's just only 200 pages.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why people say you can't skip it. No wonder.
You can't skip it, and you get that step in the path of him really losing his ideology and moving down this path. It's really good.
Yeah, but I'm not supposed to start the next book until next month, but I don't think it's going to happen. So probably we'll be going Demon and White here here soon. But I don't know if I want to read that and Book of the New Sun at the same time.
Probably not.
Yeah, that's asking a lot. So we'll see where we go from there. But I am excited for that buddy read. And then as soon as that's over, I have to pick up Malazan. Like literally.
Yeah. I got to get back to Malazan
with that buddy read. And both of those guys have read it. Well, I want to say Four Corners of the Page just read Malazan through twice. And so I'm like, man, I've got to pay attention and know what's going on. But I tell you, probably even more than Rakiel, I'm expecting Samwise to come with the knowledge on
big time.
I expect him to start talking and my brain start going like.
I might get that look that Jacob gets when I record with him.
Yeah, I think that's annoyance. Not
no, it's sleep.
Completely, there's nothing happening behind these eyes.
That's funny. All right. Well, tell everybody in the chat, just in case they don't already know, where can they find pre-orders? What is the date for physical copies? Any of that information that can help kind of direct them in the right way to be able to support you guys and pick up Discovery.
Take it away, baby.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, go to our website, jajminton.com, and we have all of the links there. We are going to be, Discovery's publication date is May 15th. You can pre-order the Amazon book right now.
The ebook.
The ebook only, because Amazon don't do pre-order for paperback for indie.
Yep.
But if you get on our mailing list, we will be reminding everybody of everything and also sending out some news when we have it.
Mm-hmm. And you can, and if you haven't yet, you can. There's a sample on the website.
There's a free sample on the website. Yeah,
yep.
If you want to try it out.
It's not. Is it the prologue?
It is the prologue.
Oh,
and,
it's
a prologue, and a chunk of chapter 1.
It's the prologue and chapter 1.
Yeah, that was a good choice. Again, not that I didn't absolutely love the prologue, but I didn't love the prologue until chapter 1 was over, and I went, okay. It's like the prologue had like I could look at it from a different light once I got on the ground and was like, okay, here's what we're doing.
I think we have the prologue in chapter 1 and 2 on the website, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. My awesome sister here says she cannot wait for her signed copy.
Oh, Shannon.
Thank you, Shannon.
Yeah. She's she does some really good like written reviews on all the different written review places. So haven't got her on the camera yet. Gonna have to get her behind the camera.
Gotta get her on the camera,
Come on,
man.
Shannon.
She's a natural. So. I think she's a horse vet. She's trying to start doing like horse vet like videos.
Oh, cool.
So
that'd be awesome
to give her my expertise. But I know I am excited for you guys. May 15th can't come fast enough for people to start reading it. When are you guys going to allow us to have a spoiler-filled video? Like May 16th? May 17th?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, honestly, there's some set up that are pretty quick.
Yeah, there's some that are pre-recorded.
There's some that are already recorded.
There's one that's pre-recorded.
Oh, is that with Tutor Ramble?
Yeah.
Oh, dear God.
And I don't know when they're dropping it. And
I don't either, but it's like they might be May 16th.
I don't know.
Yeah. I know I've had
Dr. Chase is the 17th.
Pretty quick after, yeah.
Yeah. So
I need to make sure mine is nowhere near that one so that I can That guy is brilliant.
My
goodness.
I'm frightened.
Yeah, I doesn't it feel like we're all gonna have to sit for a thesis review?
Very fair, very fair.
Yeah.
I want to say it hasn't been nailed down yet, but I think me, Jake, Chance.
I think it's a Red Company, right?
No, I think it's me,
Alex?
Jake, Chance, and Triple B.
Okay, all right.
Or is that the Red Company without? And
I think
maybe
that
Alex.
is the Red Company.
Lots of stuff gets thrown around in Instagram DMs at this point.
Yeah, I bet.
But the goal is to get those guys together and do a spoiler-filled chat. And I think that's going to be a blast because that's going to be some interesting different perspectives.
Oh yeah, that's going to be great when we can totally open the floodgates.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can talk about that ending. But awesome, guys. Well, thank y'all so much for coming and hanging out with me.
Dude, this was amazing. The first live stream.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us.
I mean, if anybody should be decent at live streams, it should be someone who talks for a living. So I guess I've been doing this long enough, just talking to people that hopefully I can carry a conversation. But
dude, it's awesome.
You guys are easy peasy. So I mean, I could basically just not talk, and you guys.
We rely on Jacob.
Yeah, we do.
That's what it is.
The worst person you could rely on for talking. Yeah.
What is Jacob? Jacob's going to have to come up with a new joke once he becomes like a reader. You know, like what's going to be the joke when he starts reading 5, 6, 7 novels a month?
I think then the channel actually begins. I think 2 people can actually talk about books on camera. Yeah, it's actually a YouTube channel.
Oh my gosh. But I mean, but the back and forth is where it's at, man.
Oh, there's plenty of things I can yell at my dad
Maybe you read
about.
the books and you just pretend like you're still not.
Yeah,
you know
that could happen. Yeah.
Oh, he'll find plenty of things to yell at me about.
Every wrap up, I'll just bring out the 10 books I read that I didn't talk about for the past 30 days.
Yeah. I loved. I gotta say before we leave, I loved the competition and how you guys just started stacking up like the smallest possible books you could possibly find to try. I mean, that was fantastic.
I gotta say, last night I heard my fiance like on the phone, I think with her sister or something, and her sister saw like one of our shorts that was talking about the contest, and her sister was like, "He looks so stressed."
Yeah, you were put through the ringer.
It was a rough month.
I mean, I'd love to talk to 2024 Jacob and be like, "Hey, man, do you know you have a TBR video? You have a yearly TBR video now."
I would never believe you.
You're like, "No, there's no chance."
But how much fun are you having getting into some stories and reading?
Man. It's
like,
really
what's the difference been truly?
Yeah. I mean, the difference is not, there's so many differences, and I'm sure you can relate to this, Preacher. It's like, there's the community's amazing. Of course, you get to talk to people that share interests or not. You can argue with Austin all day, but then you just get to read more. Like I actually enjoy my weeks more, that I give myself the excuse to sit down and kind of spend some time silently with myself instead of working 12 hours a day. It's like I set aside time to read and I just have a better day, you know?
Yeah, I feel that.
So it's made a huge impact on my life. I'm really glad that I let you start this channel, Dad.
Yeah, well, and you know, you guys, my first video was technically a town square. So, I mean, you guys, you guys were kind of the push for me to start doing it and enjoying it. And I did that town square video and was like, I don't know if you guys remember, I couldn't get it short enough. And so I had to like speed it up to like 1.5 speed.
I do remember
because I don't shut up.
I do remember that.
I was like, hey guys, I'm here.
Your channel is amazing. If that was your launch pad, we feel great about it.
Well, thank you, man. Well, I mean, like you said, all the people are just so like, they're just so supportive, and everybody wants to help everybody, and like, you know, everybody, and it doesn't even feel like just, oh, I'll share this video because this guy needs my help. It's like genuine You know, they genuinely
Yeah.
want to be a part. And
Yeah.
even the collab videos that I, you know, when I first started, I was like, that's something I would love to do, you know, once a month, once every other month. And I was like, I'm not gonna be able to get anybody to do it, right? Like no one's gonna take their time. And then pretty early, I was just like, I'm just gonna shoot these emails out and see what happens. And I like the yes rate is like insanely high. And they're like,
Yeah.
it's not even like, oh yeah, sure. It's like, oh, I'd love to do that. I'm sitting there like,
Yeah.
you would, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were blown away that like I think it was like around the time that we hit like a year that we were like, man, what if we send an email to Mike? Like that'd be a really cool full circle moment. Like we did a year, and the person that my dad started watching BookTube with, like you know, came on to talk to us, and I think we like sent him a DM or an email, and he was like, yeah, I'd love to. And we were like, what do you mean? What, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mike was in my first one.
Yeah.
Now I was in Mike's like Discord channel community and stuff,
Yeah,
so like
yeah.
I helped. But I was just like, Mike, and he was like, dude,
Yeah.
yes. And then like he sent me the video, and it was like, hey, preacher, and I was just like, whoa,
Oh my
Yeah.
god, it's Mike.
yeah, because again, I mean, probably you know, outside of Daniel, Mike was the one that I watched the most, and it's been really fun to see kind of how that community they all just really want to see each other do well and talk about books and everybody's so different, right? Everybody's vibe is so vastly different, but they still all kind of like help each other and work together and stuff. So I mean, I know for me the support piece was huge because like I don't have a ton of time to like devote to videos every week. So any opportunity for someone to be like, hey, it'll be easier if you did this, or this, like editing here is like easier if you do, like a lot of that stuff helped me to kind of get over the hump of creating like a regular schedule and being able to edit right and like just do enough. That was a big piece of it. And I mean, just in general, you know, seeing how much fun you guys had together. I do wish if I had one wish, it would be, you know, maybe like a once a year bring Town Square back, you know, once a year.
We've really thought about it.
I can tell you there are plans.
I need Chris to make fun of you in Town
One
Square.
more time.
I think that's the first one I ever watched, was the one where Chris like impersonated you.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, and I was just like, this guy's ridiculous. And then 2 months later, we're like talking and hanging out and you know doing videos together, and I was like, wow, that's cool. And Jake, me and Jake have so much in common in real life that's like a really cool. We listen to the same music, and we're like both do all kinds of stuff that's the same. And so watching his channel, I was like, man, that guy, I would love to do something with him. And then it was able to happen because I mean, you guys have fostered such a cool community.
I mean, we didn't foster anything. We just glommed onto it.
You guys did it.
Yeah.
I think it was Jake. It was Pooh. Okay, let's be honest. It was Pooh.
All right. Well, yeah, really, all credit goes to Pooh.
Nothing goes to Pooh. He does nothing but eat.
Yeah. Does he have credit in the book? Like, does he have anything written?
No, he does not.
No.
What are we doing? All right. Everybody.
He's not even in the acknowledgments.
Oh,
No.
you didn't even acknowledge the great Pooh?
No.
Gosh, all right. Everything I said about pre-orders, take it back.
There's a character based on Pooh.
There is. We'll tell you when we get off. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you guys again so much for coming.
Dude, thanks for the invite.
Everybody who came and hung out with us. Thank you guys for participating. I couldn't have anybody better on for my first live stream. You guys are the bomb. And getting to read you guys' story early was such a blessing. So stoked to see May 15th and how people respond to it. And it was awesome seeing how many people grabbed the pre-order. I mean, I know you guys are going to have some sore hands.
They are.
That was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything you guys want to say before we sign off?
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Everybody in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah.
Everybody, thanks for joining us. And
Gilbert Gottfried audiobook coming soon.
Yeah.
Don't let me forget to send you that link.
Thanks, everybody. And thank you, Preacher. It's so much fun.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Have a great night.
Okay. Good night.